Welcome to another episode of Lit Loot Content Camp. I don't have anything to go over this time, so let's get straight into this episode's challenge. The 8th challenge was a quiz on my YouTube and Twitch channel. There were 15 questions, some answers were on YouTube and some were on Twitch. We got 6 out of 6 responses, yoy! You will get 120 points for every correct answer. I will give half credit for some questions if necessary. As a reminder, Silent Space gets a 1.2x multiplier for this challenge in exchange for his token, because tokens were removed last episode. Before we begin, I will remind everyone of the current standings. I'll start by showing the correct answers and where you find them for the not obvious ones. Some questions had multiple ways to find the answer, but I'll just show the easiest way. Up first is Q-Toad, and here were his responses. Q-Toad almost got everything right except for question number 12. Gotta be able to find out Nightshade. This is still a 14 out of 15 and an A, which will get you 1680 points. Up next is Mr. Mystery. Here are his answers. You can definitely see where Mr. stopped trying here. The reason why number 10 is wrong because Lazarium did win the Royal Rumble, but that doesn't make him the Iron Man. The Iron Man is whoever survived the longest time. Mr. got the first half of the questions right and the latter half wrong, so he'll get 8 out of 15 right, which is a D- and 960 points. Up next is Fire. Here are his answers. And you'll notice that every single one of them are right. Fire gets 15 out of 15 and an A+, which is 1800 points. Up next is Silent Space. Here are his answers. As you can see, he did not know a lot of them, but the ones he did know, he got right. Unfortunately, he only didn't know 7 out of 15 of them. He only did know 7 out of 15 of them. But with his 1.2x buff, he still gets 1008 points. Pedrin is up next. Here are his answers. He was very specific with his answers, with explanations for most of them. I'm giving partial credit for question 9 because technically it was a Mega Venusaur, but he said regular Venusaur. 13.5 out of 15 right, which is a B+, worth 1620 points. Up next is Emmett. Here are his responses. There were a few guesses here and there. He did know most of the ones that he didn't guess on, but question number 3, that was my Ask Mini team that I won, not SPL. And number 10 is the same thing as before. He won, but that doesn't make him the Iron Man. This is still 9 out of 15, which is a D, and it'll get you 1080 points, which is likely the amount of pixels on your screen. Here are the results of the challenge. And now here's the overall standings. Sixth place is Silent Space. I feel bad eliminating you here because you might not have been eliminated if we still had tokens. Silent Space, you played a great game. You were very consistent in challenges. However, it's a really close game right now, and one lackluster challenge performance is enough to eliminate anyone at this stage of the game. I'm glad you were willing to play in this camp, and I hope to see you in other camps. Awards and stats. The average quiz taker got about 11 questions right. Despite receiving the least amount of points, Mr. Mystery is still in first. but the gap is closing. He's only up 300 now. Fire rose the most, climbing 3 places from 6th to 3rd. Emmett fell the most, falling 3 places from 2nd to 5th. The game is now very close. First and last are only separated by 655 points. The most commonly incorrect question was the last one, which is literally the one about this series. How did y'all mess that up? Some more stats. Here's the average placement leaderboard. Fire and Q-Toad are now the clear top 2 after good performances and lacking performances by Emmett and Silent Space. Here's the Appy leaderboard. And here's the same thing without eliminated contestants. Q-Toad is now our front runner, following the elimination of Silent Space. There's also a pretty sizable gap between the top 2 and everyone else. And now here's the all-time overall standings graphs. Challenge number 9. The next challenge is very simple. The next challenge is to play any game and get the highest score. I don't care what game it is as long as it has a high score. Whoever has the highest score number wins, so I suggest playing a game that has normally high scores. It also doesn't technically have to be a score. It can be amount of a certain item collected, maybe a stat upgrade. It doesn't matter. All you have to do is get the highest number in a video game. And you have to get this score, like this has to be a new score. You can't submit a score you've gotten before. This has to be a score you've gotten like in this challenge, like in the duration of this challenge. Some final information. You have until Sunday, February 2nd, 2025 at 5 p.m. Eastern to submit your scores. You can only submit by screenshotting your score and submitting in the Google form or DMing me the screenshot. I'm going to be more strict about extensions from now on because at this point, you should be submitting on time. Lilu content.